founder for Comply Karo. And basically, presently we are actually supporting the cause of women's safety through implementation of law. So I'll actually just take you through one of the recent laws which have been enacted by the Government of India, which we believe will do considerable justice to women's safety, and it can actually make a great difference. We read about women harassment happening every day. So we'll just give you kind of a brief of the law and tell you your rights under the law and what organizations ought to do, which will make this world a better place to live. Prevention of Sexual Harassment in Workplace, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act of 2013. This law was actually made in December 2013, though it had a history of its own. Initially, when women were harassed, they had no civil remedy. They actually had to always go to the police, which was not something which was very ideal. In '97, because of some untoward event happening in Rajasthan, one of the NGOs called the Vishaka NGO, based out of Jaipur, they actually petitioned the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court felt that there was a need to have a law in place, but because the government did not make any law, Supreme Court decided and gave out a guideline which they called the Vishaka Guidelines, which kind of provided a remedy to women for any harassment which happened in any organization. And they said that this law is the law of the land till the government comes out with the law. Unfortunately, Supreme Court did not mandate any penal provisions in the law, because of which what happened is organizations did not proactively implement this law. Finally, in 2013, because of again a few of these recent incidents which happened, the government finally came out with this law, which was on 9th December 2013, which actually provides a civil remedy for women to get redressal. So it's kind of a confidential mechanism where your name is not publicized in the market. Secondly, also what they did was they made sexual harassment a criminal offense. So earlier, you basically had to fit in all these aspects in different, so you would possibly have to look at stalking or molestation or something on those lines and try to fit in what happened with you under those laws. In February 2013, again because of the Nirbhaya case, they actually amended the criminal code and made this a criminal offense as well. So currently, you have a civil remedy as well as a criminal remedy for any harassment which happens to women in society. And obviously it has severe penal consequences for the organization. In case it happens in the premise of the organization is required to help the women have redressal. So basically what it provides is that the organization has to implement the law. From a women's perspective, it provides two things. If the person who has harassed or against whom you have a grievance of he having harassed you, he, she or the third gender, this law is actually only for the benefit of women at this point of time, because of which again you hear a lot of places people saying that this is not gender neutral. The Constitution of India provides that. They say that till such point of time, government has the power to make women-centric laws as well. So this law mandates the organization. So supposing you are in a mall and somebody harasses you or teases you out there, it is the responsibility of the mall to help you get your grievances redressed. If he is an employee of the mall itself, then they have to provide you an internal mechanism where you should be able to complain to an internal committee of theirs, which also has an outside member to provide, I would say, unbiased opinion. That order, so they actually decide, here both parties have to present their case, and then they decide what they believe is right and wrong. That's not the end of it. There is an appeal provided from there also, which is to the industrial tribunal. All this happens in a confidential manner in case any information about the person is divulged, which can lead to the identification of the victim. There are consequences for that. In case he is not an employee, and if you are harassed in a mall, I'm just giving an example of a mall for that matter, then they have to help you either to make a police complaint if you so desire, or if they know that person is an employee of some other organization, then to make a complaint in that organization. So what happens is, currently, if something like this were to happen, you are left high and dry, that there is no support mechanism in place. This law mandates the organization to provide that kind of support mechanism. And we believe that having done this, like if all organizations were to comply with the same, then we believe 70 to 80% of harassment issues will either subside at one point of time, or they will be redressed in a much, I would say, confidential manner, rather than having a media trial on every day. And if you look at the last thing, any other unwelcome physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature would possibly take in its encompass everything and anything under the moon, as long as it is unwelcome. Again, just to understand how clear the emphasis is on unwelcome, so basically it has to be unwelcome to the lady. It is the impact that matters, not the intent. So basically the person has to understand that he may not have intended it for all the matters, but if he is kind of talking loosely or otherwise, it is the impact on a normal person which will matter. Quid pro quo is basically that if the person is asking for some favors in lieu of something, that's kind of an example of quid pro quo. Hostile work environment is basically that in the cafeteria of an organization, for that matter, people generally would use filthy language for that. So it creates a kind of a hostile environment which is not conducive for women, and therefore that in the circumstances of the case can also be construed as sexual harassment. Salient features of the law, again, I'll just take you through a few things. For every organization which has 10 or more employees, they are required by law to have an internal committee. So this is the committee which will listen to your grievance in case you make a complaint. So this is for every organization which has 10 or more employees. Employee very widely defined. It means subcontractors, laborers, with your knowledge, without your knowledge, free, apprentice, trader, anybody. If you are an organization which does not have 10 employees, or if the complaint against the owner, so if you again take a recent example of Mr. Pachori, in that case the lady felt that the internal committee of that organization would not be able to give justice to her. Actually, the internal committee cannot hear the complaint because Mr. Pachori is the head of the organization. So the law provides that if it is against the employer, who is the management of the organization, or if it is from a company which is less than 9 people, because of which they don't have an internal committee, it will be heard by a local complaint committee. So the local complaint committee is actually formed by the government in every district, but obviously they cannot have an ecosystem where every complaint is heard by the committee. So they actually want an internal mechanism. So they've kept a threshold, 10 and more employees, organization has to have an internal committee. If you don't have an internal committee, consequences are penal. Recently a company was fined 1 crore 68 lakh rupees for not having an internal committee. So it's quite draconian in that way. Local complaint committee every place. It is quick redressal. Within 3 months, the inquiry has to be completed. You have to make a complaint within 3 months. You cannot sleep over it and maybe after 2 years, because you hear somebody complains after 2 years, it's been said that, listen, because I gave her a bad appraisal, that's why she's coming back. So the law is trying to make it balanced by saying that you should make a complaint within 3 months, and if there has been a series of harassment, 3 months from the last day of the incident, for some reason, if you are unable to do it within 3 months, and you have to give a genuine reason that, okay, you were getting psychiatric treatment, or you were actually hurt yourself and you were in the hospital for some reason, couldn't do, the committee has the power of extending it for another 3 months. Beyond 6 months, this committee can't hear. It provides a forum for conciliation, but it is only at the request of the woman. So if you are hurt, but you don't want to take it to its logical end, you just want him to apologize, or whatever the case may be, between you and the other person, and you say, I want to try conciliation, they will try to have a mediation between you all. And if you all mediate and come to a settlement, it will be recorded, not known to the public, and then he has to implement that. In case he does not implement that, you can go back and say, I want the inquiry started again. Inquiry has to be completed within 90 days. Principles in a national justice, you have the right to prove what you've said. I understand proving always may not be very easy because it could happen behind closed doors. So you have 3, I would say, outcomes which can come of an inquiry. One is that the person accused has been proven wrong. Then in that case, the committee will decide what has to be done for him. It could be ranging from termination to just a reprimand to actually doing community service. And the committee will also decide what kind of monetary compensation should be paid to the women, taking into consideration the status of the person. Also, whatever expenses you incurred in case of any medical expenses, or for that matter, loss of career opportunities. If you are not able to prove it, that doesn't mean you are wrong. If you are unable to prove, then because it's one word against the other and the committee feels that they are not able to come to a conclusion, then they will just say that the complaint is closed. It's neither that you are right nor that you are wrong. Similarly, neither the guy is right nor that he is wrong, because they are unable to come to a definite conclusion in that case. The third option is yes, where the woman is wrong. The law also provides that in case the woman has made a false or malicious complaint, for that matter, she said that this guy harassed me, on that day he was out of station, that would be prima facie, on the face of it, false and malicious. Then the same consequences are for the lady as well. Only thing is, there is no monetary compensation for the lady. Sorry, monetary compensation payable by the lady to the gentleman. It is not that if you feel you are not happy with the decision taken by the committee, you are left high and dry. You have an appeal provision to the industrial tribunal. So this is in kind of consonance with general law that each person should get 2 levels of appeal. So that's where it is. Thank you.